Hey, what's up, everybody in YouTube land? What is happening? So, this is CC Talk. I'm back at it again. So, YNR has finally gotten rid of Mel Young, executive producer, head writer of the show. It's about time he's gotten canned, considering the endless allegations of abuse towards his female actresses on set, and how he's just carried on like Napoleon, and it was just time for him to go. So that's a good thing. Overall, positive on that front. Here's the negative. Josh Griffith, is replacing him as head writer. Now, if y'all don't know anything about Josh Griffith, here is his rap sheets, so to speak, in the industry. He's been writing since the 1980s on soaps, ever since his work debuted on Santa Barbara, I think. He won an Emmy there as a script writer. I think at the time, the head writers back then were Jill Phelps and Charles Pratt, which is aka Chuck Pratt. Bob Guza was over there. So you see where I'm going with this, right? Steve Kent was also a producer on Santa Barbara. So you get where I'm connecting the dots, right? It's pretty much the same old people that have helped destroy daytime, with the exception of Bob Guza. Because God knows Bob Guza could be used on General Hospital these days. You know, he's probably the lone Santa Barbara person that really just... he was just amazing, you know, but no, girl, I just can't. But the rest of them hoes, they could just disappear. And that includes Josh Griffith. Josh Griffith's run overall led him to... after Santa Barbara, he ended up on One Life to Live. He was then paired with Michael Malone, who wrote the Marty rape storyline, Vicky's mental break. I think that was like her second or third mental break on the show, which led to Erica Slezak winning multiple Emmys under their regime. Let's see. I'm trying to think another stop he was at. He also was on... yeah, he was also on General Hospital as a script writer. When, again, Bob Guza was writing the show. Bob Guza was an executive along with Jill Phelps. Chuck Pratt was a script writer, and Josh Griffith was over there. And I think he won another Emmy over there. So... he won like 3 Emmys from each decade. 80s, 90s, 2000s. So by that time, you know, his resume looked pretty good for any other job out there. Then they tried to bring back Michael Malone, Josh Griffith again to recapture that magic on One Life to Live. But there was something that was missing. There was a beat that was missed. And they ultimately got fired again. Then he ended up on Young and the Restless. I think he was on Young and the Restless before Jill Phelps got there. I cannot remember. Because all of his stops came... every time he got a job, there had to be a Jill Phelps or Steve Kent that was, you know, the reason why he got his jobs a lot of times. I'm trying to remember his first stop at, you know, at One Life, at YNR. I know he wrote there for about a couple of years before he burnt out on that show the first time. Then he got fired. Then Jill brought him back for a second time. And that's when he wrote all of the story of the young baby of Billy and Chloe's, who got mowed down in the street YNR won multiple Emmys that year for that stuff. Because usually when you run over a child in daytime, you're going to get Emmys for it. I mean, remember when Luke ran over, Liz and Jason's little son at the time? They won multiple Emmys for that. The only show that never, like, won multiple Emmys over anything like that was Days. And don't even get me started, because Kristen Alfonso was robbed, honey, from getting a nomination that year. But, I digress. Point is, after, his stints, he was ultimately fired on Young and Restless. Then he went to Days, and he was paired with, guess who? Dana Higley. He was hired by his homeboy, Steve Kent. Again, previous producer on Santa Barbara. Now he's the head of Sony Daytime Television. And when he went over there to Days about 3-4 years ago, it was just... He started out okay. But when he and Dana Higley's working relationship fell apart, the show fell apart. So much so, Days of Our Lives was damn near almost canceled. If y'all remember that time period, it was hella dark. The stories were just dark and depressing. Rape, people getting killed off left and right. There was no rhyme or reason a lot of times. There were some Days fans on Twitter that liked it, but then there was other hardcore Day fans like myself that was just like, no, this is not the Days of Our Lives that we are accustomed to. And he and Dana Higley helped ruin the 50th anniversary for Days of Our Lives that year. So that was definitely tough. But ever since he was fired from Days, he hasn't worked till he got a call back to do a third stint on YNR. And again, guess who's helming Daytime Sony? Is Steve Kent, his homeboy. My thing is, look, there are some of the actors who either have been let go from the show, like Doug Davison, of course. What is her name? Melissa Claire Egan. I didn't see any Eileen Davison yet, but I heard that was basically the straw that broke the camel's back with YNR, particularly CBS, was, with Mel Young, because his final target was Eileen Davison. And, he, was abusive towards her and not nice to her. And you got to understand, she's a 2-time Emmy winner for both Days of Our Lives and Young and Restless. So she deserves, a layer of respect considering how long she's been in this industry. And the way he treated her, along with the fact, Mel Young's stories did not, elevate the show in the ratings the way that, people had hoped, especially coming off of Sally Sussman Morina and Kay Alden's runs. He pretty much blew it for himself overall with his overall destructive behavior. But I'm not feeling good about Josh Griffith returning as a head writer on Young and Restless. I'm just not. Let's be real, let's be clear. He's had 2 runs at this. Usually, a lot of times with Josh Griffith's writing, it's just dark. It's very dark. YNR, granted, it's slightly dark, but it's not so dark where it's not... I can't enjoy it. Bill Bell wrote a dark version of YNR, but there was some sense of light to it. And there was romance, there was sexiness, there was glamour, there was glitz, there was snarky comments towards, like between women. There were sometimes cat fights. There was a good blend of everything that, that made a great soap. You have to have the right ingredients to make a really great soap. And I just don't have the faith, even though it's been, 2-3 years since Josh Griffith has wrote his last soap. I'm not feeling good about Josh Griffith. I'm just not. I know, most people online are jumping for joy and they're excited, mainly because Mel Young has been let go and they're just glad for a new writer. But I'm sorry. Josh Griffith is just, he's a hack. I'm just keeping it real. He's a fucking hack. And I just don't trust him, being the type of writer that everybody is expecting. Because a lot of people are expecting him to be the writer that he was like on One Life to Live in his first stint, or how he was in his early run on Y&R. But let me tell you something. Y'all Sharon fans, and I like Sharon, I like Sharon. I'm not like a big old Sharon fan like a lot of people online are. But Sharon, one thing I will say about Mel Young and his crew, he did reboot Sharon, and he finally got that horse in order. Okay, when it came to that character. On to Josh Griffith, let me tell you something. Sharon is about to go back being crazy as hell. She's about to be a thought. And if y'all don't know what a thought is, that's a hoe over there. I'm telling you, he was the one that made Sharon crazy. He's the one that gave Sharon the bipolars. So I'm not, like jumping for joy over this. I'm just not. I'm looking at it from a glass half empty perspective. And I'm usually not when it comes to soaps. I'm just not. Usually when a new writer comes along, I hold my breath and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a chance. But when you have constantly recycled the same writers, the same producers from this good old boy club, white boy club, mind you, from Santa Barbara, there's some serious white privilege going on, man. I'm telling you, Steve Kent, Chuck Pratt, I mean, the thing is, I'm just thinking to myself, like, shit, Santa Barbara, I'm like, if you wanted a successful writer, how come he couldn't go and get Bob Guza? You mean to tell me Bob Guza ain't doing nothing? I mean, I ain't seen Bob Guza since, the last time he was on General Hospital writing. That was like 2012. That should be one of the freshest writers in the game that Steve Kent should have called up and said, hey man, we USC boys, can you write this, this Y&R? But they didn't do it, so they got Josh Griffith again. And I don't know what it is. Like I said, it's just the same people. Josh Griffith, Chuck Pratt, just call Jill Farron Phelps. Just call Jill Farron Phelps and you'll complete the trifecta, But Tony Morina, who is Sally Sussman Morina's husband, is going to be the EP of the show. Now, I don't know much of his, of his stuff in terms of being a producer. But I will give him a chance. I will as an EP, but I'm just letting him know. Josh Griffith is one of those type of writers when he gets, sidetracked or he loses sight of his stories or, he gets frustrated with the EP. Trust and believe he's going to butcher the hell out of your show as a big Days of Our Lives fan. I saw this, okay, for 2 seasons. You know, at least a season, you know, when he was over there on Days. He started out good for the first, like, I don't know, 2 to 3 months. And then all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, it just imploded right before our very eyes. So, again, Y&R fans are probably jumping for joy over this. I've seen some of the people in the press, on Twitter, saying great things about this, but I'm like, some of y'all are just like forgetting that Josh Griffith, y'all are letting, see, I think what's happening is a lot of people are letting that Emmy stuff blindside them, you know, they're letting that whole thing of like, oh, he has like 3 Emmys and, you know, he had great runs on Santa Barbara and One Life and General Hospital, but I'm like, the second part of his career, One Life the second time, Y&R, all those stints, then Days, hasn't been great. So I'm trying to understand why there are certain people who are fans as well as people in the press getting all excited about this. I'm usually glass half full kind of person. But if you done showed me twice how your work is going to be on one show, and then I see you on another show that I absolutely adore and love, and you almost got it damn near canceled, with the help of, yes, Dina Higley as well, but you almost helped get it canceled. I'm not feeling too good about this Josh Griffith hire. I'm just not. So, it is what it is. Again, I'm not feeling good about Sharon. You know, because I got a feeling that we're going to get retreads of crazy Sharon, slutty Sharon is going to resurface again. We might get Eileen Davidson back. We may not. We might get Doug Davison back, more than likely. We might even get Melissa Claire Egan back. I don't know. But the point of emphasis is that I'm just not feeling good about Josh Griffith as a writer. Again, he might do some great stuff the first 6 months of the year. His material, with Tony Morina doesn't air until what? February sweeps. And y'all know what February sweeps is. Usually February sweeps, even though in daytime it's not like what it used to be, because I remember during February sweeps, it used to be a situation where it's like you got rid of all of your not so great characters and then you just killed them off, or you sent them packing, overseas into some imaginary place. But I just got this strange feeling he's going to do one of those major kills for February sweep. It's going to be highly emotional, of course. It wouldn't be surprised if it happens to a major player on the show that everybody adores and loves. And that'll be their way of trying to get like Emmy nominations for everybody. Because let's be real, Y&R does have a top-notch, acting core on their show. So, if Josh Griffith comes in and writes some boo-boo on on a piece of cardboard, those actors and, the EP will try to find a way to make sure that the cast will pull it out of, the water and make, shit into lemonade. But, we'll see. I just, now that I heard that his stint starts in February sweeps, it's like, oh Lord, because they film, was it 2.5 months in advance, I think. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm not feeling good about this, man. Again, I know what's gonna happen. He's gonna start off hot. Him and Tony gonna start off hot the first 5-6 months. Everybody's gonna be like, ooh, this is good soap. Great soap. Ratings might go up a little bit. And then that second half of the year, there's gonna be some bullshit. I can feel it. I can feel it already. And again, I'm not trying to speak it into existence, but as a Days of Our Lives fan, I saw this firsthand. And I also saw it on Y&R, but even though I'm a fan of Y&R, I'm not as big of a Y&R fan, at least, since I've been a teenager on up, as I've been a Days of Our Lives fan. So when I watched his stuff on Days of Our Lives, it just reeked of just disgusting. So we'll see how it turns out. I mean, I hope he brings back the romance, the glitz and the glamour, the snarky comments, the cat fights, the strong female rivalries that people been griping about online. Hot, sexy men. I hope he does all that. I really do. But until I see it for myself, I'm not feeling too good of what is about to come with Josh Griffith, because his reputation perceives itself, and we'll just see how it goes. Anyway, feel free to rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think of this hire, and I will get at y'all later. Peace for now. Bye.